Welcome to WildFacts, where we learn the truth one wild fact at a time. We're going to be talking about what happens if you get close to a black hole merger. The thing about black hole mergers is they release their energy in the form of gravitational waves, meaning it's completely invisible to us and releases zero electromagnetic radiation. Which begs the question, would it even be dangerous to approach a black hole merger since it doesn't release any radiation? All of its energy is poured into gravitational waves. Could they be dangerous? And if they are, how close would you need to be? Just to curb a little bit of that suspense, we will be explaining a scenario in which you could potentially experience the physical feeling of gravitational waves and live to tell the tale. Let's dive into some more extremely wild facts. So, black holes are more of a feature of space-time rather than an actual object. They are, in fact, a three-dimensional hole in the fabric of space-time. Just like the disc-shaped hole you would have in a two-dimensional surface, this is a sphere-shaped hole in a three-dimensional surface. So when they merge or collide, instead of having two objects clash, it's more like just two holes becoming one bigger hole. Because of this, there is no tangible matter or energy to speak of. Yet, the merger's resulting black hole seems to be missing mass. For example, the first black hole merger ever detected by LIGO had a combined mass of 65 solar masses. But after the merger, there only remained 62 solar masses, meaning 3 solar masses were missing. That means energy must escape the black hole merger, and it does it in the form of gravitational waves. But how dangerous is it exactly to stand in the path of this form of energy? The unbelievable answer is this is in fact the least threatening method in which energy can propagate. In fact, a black hole merger would likely go unnoticed unless you were located within the same solar system, or you had highly sophisticated measuring equipment. For example, if you were to witness the merger of two 30 solar mass black holes from an orbit of 50,000 kilometers, you wouldn't physically feel anything, but the visuals would be a cinematic masterpiece. The black holes would be orbiting each other so quickly that the light they distort from behind them would smear into a single ring that would seem to shrink. You would also theoretically see the frame dragging as multiple images stacking upon each other as the black holes got closer together. The view would be breathtaking, and so long as you had enough fuel and power, survivable as well. But let's say you took that orbit down to 10,000 kilometers. This is where the real cosmic horror story begins. At this distance, controlling the spacecraft would be impossible. Gravitational waves would still be imperceptible, but the gravity of the black holes itself would not be. The asymmetrical gravity you get from two orbiting bodies would have its way with your spaceship, knocking it around every which way. Stack that on top of the fact that you'd be right on the edge of the maelstrom of time and space. Theoretically, at this distance, it's possible to see the same object both in front of you and behind you. But none of these effects actually come from the gravitational waves. In fact, if you do the math, you find that if you want to physically feel gravitational waves, you have to get so close to a black hole merger that you're likely to meet your demise in many other ways. But that's okay, because just for YouTube, I decided to use my great mind and ChatGPT to figure out if there was a way for someone to theoretically feel what it feels like to experience gravitational waves and live to tell the tale. The way to do this is to go to the barycenter, or the common center of rotation for the merging black holes. And now to explain what they would feel like. This would be an entirely exotic sensation. Some equate it to the feeling of your entire body becoming magnetized. If this is a survivable sensation and your bones don't just shatter in an instant, the feeling would be a lot like the weight of your own body internally tugging and pulling in an oscillating fashion. Though, I should mention, it is possible that by the time your body is able to feel the physical sensation of gravitational waves, that the gravitational waves are creating enough friction to turn all the atoms in your body to plasma. I thought it also might be interesting to note that it's theorized you would hear the gravitational waves as they would oscillate your eardrums. There are even some that believe the gravitational waves would affect your brain before you would feel it in your body, causing a variety of effects, all the way up to and including full-scale seizures and complete loss of mental faculties. Now, this is about all I could find or deduce in regards to the topic of how the human experiences gravitational waves. I wish I had equipment powerful enough to run a simulation for this presentation, but my computer is barely powerful enough to edit simple video. But you could help me get to that stage by liking, subscribing, and commenting. All engagement is much appreciated. You would be helping me make one of my dreams come true.